Applause for my coach, Stark County's coach, Ohio's coach, and one of the best to ever do it, Coach Thom McDaniels.
I hear these people talking about the late third quarter or early fourth quarter of their lives. There's a few of us up here who are in overtime. And I happen to be one of them. Don, you understand what I'm talking about. I want to thank the event organizers, Lamont Robinson and Russell Johnson, and the local guys, RJ, Dave, and Antonio for what they've done to host this event. I grew up in a small town just west of here, and I'm grateful that I grew up in Orrville, Ohio. The people familiar with this part of Ohio understand where that is. And I benefited a lot through my life, not so much by intention as much by coincidence, but I had the great opportunity to be at the right place at the right time. And my family moving to Orrville, Ohio, me growing up in a town where football mattered. That made an immediate impression on me as a grade school kid and as a middle school kid. When things were going really well in Orrville, Ohio, the rumor has it that there were more people in the stands on Friday night than there were in church on Sunday morning. And Orrville had a lot of churches. But I'm grateful that I grew up in that town. I'm grateful that I had two different head coaches, Bill Shunkwater and Mo Tipton. Those men impacted me, they inspired me, they molded me, and I, as a young man, wanted to be what they already were. Before I became a head football coach, I worked for three different gentlemen. Mo Tipton was one of them, and he's an Ohio High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame member. I worked for Keith Wakefield. He's an Ohio High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame member. And I worked for Terry Forbes. Terry brought me to Canton McKinley in 1980. We won the state championship in 81, and then he went on into college football. But had he remained in high school football, he'd have been an Ohio High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame member. So I was impacted. I was impacted by people that mentored me, and like I said, I wanted to be who they already were. I had the good fortune of again being in the right place at the right time, because I worked for great superintendents, great principals, great athletic directors, and they never made coaching more difficult than it happened to be. They were always supportive, and they helped take down barriers and remove obstacles and remove hurdles that needed to be removed for us to be who we wanted to be as a football team and as a football program. I had great assistant coaches. I delegated responsibility, and I let them coach. I took care of organization and structure and direction and discipline, and I let them coach players. Stress fundamentals, stress basics, and I didn't try to micromanage them as assistant coaches. Some of them are here tonight, and I appreciate their being in attendance. Lastly, and most importantly, not only at McKinley, but Warren Harding, I was blessed with great talent. Some of it's on the stage tonight. You just heard Garrett Bush, Antonio Hall, and I've got a third guy, Michael Dawson, about to be introduced. When you've heard the other two gentlemen already speak, and they reflect the best about what great high school programs and what high school football can do for people. They're educated, they're articulate, they're great men. But we had a great combination of playmakers and role players, and it had to be that way. These three gentlemen were in the playmaker category. But they couldn't have done what they did if it weren't for the role players who played such a significant role in our attempts to be good. I also learned that if football mattered in Orrville, Ohio, it really mattered at Canton McKinley, especially when we got around to playing Massillon Week 10. There are two core beliefs that I'll just share in ending here. As a football program, we represented the school and we represented the city, and we probably performed in front of more people, than the tennis team did or the baseball team did. We performed and were on stage in front of more people than any other representative of the school system other than the band. And we shared that stage with them. And as I evolved and grew as a coach, I understood that we had a responsibility to represent this school and this community the right way. And so I talked to the kids and convinced them that how we behave is as important as how we play. How we behave is as important as how we play. And they bought into that concept. And so we didn't just win football games. We represented this school and this community the right way, and I'm very, very proud of that. I wanted to do a lot of things as a coach, but I never wanted to be scheme rich and execution poor. And we know people who are like that, and I didn't want to be one of those people. And being scheme rich and execution poor just doesn't have to do with coaching the game of football. I don't want to be scheme rich and execution poor as a dad. Those guys don't want to be scheme rich and execution poor at what they do. And none of these gentlemen did either. But those are core concepts, and that's what I'll leave you with. Lastly, and just because it's last, it doesn't mean that it's the least significant thing I say here today. But when I was thinking about marriage might be for me at some point in my life, and I scouted the landscape, and I recognized a young girl named Chris had potential. And anything that has happened in my life is a large result of how she managed the household. She tolerated my absence. And when I finished that scouting report, I knew that she was the only girl in a family with 3 brothers. Check. She was a cheerleader. Check. And she was drop dead gorgeous then and now. And so me being here today is a large part because of who she was and what she meant to me in my life. And the players that played for me, and again, three of them have already been to this microphone, 2 have, I'm sorry, and Mike will be, but it's on their shoulders. Football coaches are more dependent upon other people for their success than anybody else I know. And so everything, if there's a coach up here, we did what we did, but we couldn't have done it without people like these. And I was blessed, with a lot of great players at the places that I serve. I thank God every day for the blessings of my life. And this is the most recent one. Thank you.